Okay, I've just pressed record on episode 5 of the Bigger Than Running podcast. I'm excited simply because I'm actually starting a series. And it's this series that I'm actually going to invite other people to join me on this podcast. But for this first episode of the series, you have me, okay? And the series is, Aubrey, I've just started running, or I'm trying to get back into running, or I'm just trying to get reacquainted and reconnected with the basics. Help me out. Okay? Now, there is often the question, imposter syndrome, am I the best person to walk you through that kind of a question? And absolutely I am, because it's not too long ago I was asking the same questions, and it's why I've got this YouTube channel or the podcast, because I had so many questions about running that, you know what, I had more questions than answers. So I decided I'm going to start a YouTube channel and capture it all. Anyway, let's start with the structure of today's workout. For our warm-up, I'm going to tell you everything about the new series. I'm going to tell you about exactly what we're going to talk about in this episode. And then we're going to get into the workout itself. And today, I've got a tempo session for you guys. This one is going to go really, really quick. We're going to talk about the different subtopics of being a new runner. What are the typical questions? And if you're listening to this, please reach out to me on Instagram, Bigger Than Running, and shoot me all your questions. And as we go, I'm going to pinpoint people to answer them and directly address them in common language. Because one other thing that stresses the heck out of me is when I'm watching stuff that is intended for a new runner and you're using terms like your VO2 max lactate threshold 1x oxygen. I'm like, wait, you lost me. All right. So people to just have a conversation with. Okay. In the product section, we're going to talk about Brooks's Ghost 17. I haven't running them yet, so not reviewing those at all until we've done that. But we're going to talk about them and why I'm so intrigued by the Ghost 17. All right. And then, of course, we're going to talk on the 4 YouTube videos I want to recommend. Whilst I'm trying to make it 4, I only saw 3 since the last time we did the episode that stuck in my mind that I want to share with you. So please stick around for that. Oh, wait. I haven't even told you who the heck I am. My name is Aubrey. I'm a very average runner, simply trying to be less average by the day. And as at the time of filming this, you've given me 22,500 subscribers to my YouTube channel, and I got a notification that my podcast has received 600 listens ever since the start. Very grateful for that. Thank you very much for the warm welcome in the podcast space, but also the continued support on the YouTube channel. I'm excited. Warm up done. We're going to speak to Aubrey. I'm a new runner, I'm a returning runner, or I'm trying to get reconnected. Can you help me out? Now, typically, I made notes. I ask questions like, what type of shoes should I be running in? Now, I get there are a lot of people that have been running for a long time that still don't understand the different mechanics of running shoes. Why that shoe is better than that shoe for that person on that terrain at that pace. Honestly, it is so key, essentially for 2 reasons. 1, getting the most out of your performance, but more importantly, 2nd, avoiding injury. It's amazing how the wrong shoes will introduce imbalances in your hips, your lower back. All this kind of stuff can be addressed by simply having the right footwear. All right. The second thing I want to talk about is accessories. Now, I'm just going to say this outright. Okay. Accessories have now just become a fashion thing, right? I know some people that do like a 5K and they've got a hydration vest. Okay. Some people are doing it superficially because it looks cool. Makes them look like a runner. Hey, do your thing. If that's what makes you, you know what I mean, makes you feel that way, do your thing. But sometimes practically, you don't need to go that far. Okay. But some accessories are absolutely game changing. A marathon belt for your storage, heart rate monitor, a stride pod or a foot pod on your shoes to give you more accurate reading. All this kind of stuff. While some stuff is very gimmicky or a fad, some things are just simple game changers, if not must haves. So we're going to touch on those obviously as we go. And then we're going to touch on nutrition. Now, whilst it would be good to have a 5-course meal, 5K into your marathon, not very practical. And therefore, during your run, what should you be having? How much water, electrolytes, gels, before your run, days before. We talk about carb loading and all this kind of stuff that confuses people. I don't know what the heck I'm doing in that space, Aubrey. What should I be doing, right? And then we're going to talk about apps, okay? Ideally, you want a coach. Not everyone wants to invest in a coach because of the cost, but also if you're just starting out, it's not really, I wouldn't advise it that you just go guns blazing, get a coach, boom, boom. There's some apps that are going to help you. We're going to touch on those. And then lastly, race events. What do you want to aim for? What do you want to do, get involved in? And you can see it's a very big topic. And I haven't even scratched the surface with my bullet points, because as a new runner, you're absolutely going to have so many questions that you want to ask. There's so many questions that you have than you do have answers. So it's important to make sure that you've got all these bases covered by simply considering very simple questions. And my job is address some of those as best as I can, but also acknowledge the fact that I don't know that much, and therefore bring people onto my podcast that can answer these things, but address them from a perspective that can be understood, applied, and be relied upon by a new runner or someone that just wants to escape all of the jargon. Like, I don't have time to understand someone. Just explain it to me in simple terms. All right, so let's start with Aubrey. I've just started running. Talk to me about shoes, okay? There are some people, honestly, and I don't agree with this sentiment. No, man, I just run in Nike shoes, okay? I say that because I'm coming from a basketball background. I'm coming from a hip hop background, and the shoes that I had were Jordan 1s, were Jordans, and therefore I stuck with those, even for running. I remember very early days, even before I fully started running, I decided I'm going to go for a jog. I'm going to do some cardio, right? You then go trainers. You pick up any shoe that's not a dress or smart shoe. Oh, those are trainers, they will do, and you go out. And I like Jordans, and so I stuck with that. I literally ran in Jordans. Before you know it, you're getting all sorts of niggles because they're not designed for that. So I want you to just start with a clean slate. Wipe it out of your head what you think your preferences are. Now, the reason I say that, I'm going to keep it real with you. This might get slightly inappropriate, but I swear to just keep things as real as I can, right? So I decided I'm going to give this running shot a go. Now, I'm a cool black guy, you know? I got hip hop playing, I got Jordans on. I go to this run shop, and this guy says, all right, mate, just get on this treadmill. I'll see. So I did. The guy films me and he shows me, and he starts using all these words: overpronation, neutral support, gait analysis. I'm like, bro, just tell me which shoe. Tell me which shoe, how much it costs, right? If you're lucky, I'll buy it from the shop, or I'll just get the information and then get it from the internet on eBay or something, right? Anyway, so this guy does it, and he brings out a New Balance shoe, and I'm just gonna say it outright. New Balance, let's be honest, you've come a long way. Your shoes that you're putting out right now, beautiful. But the shoe, this thing that this guy brought out was a neutral shoe. And he said, I've got a neutral gait. And for the type of running you're doing, this should be okay with that easy pace, slow jog that you just referred to. I'm like, okay. Mind you, this was before the max cushion era, right? I look at the shoe and I'm like, come on, bro. No. I can't even remember what it was. All I know is it was New Balance for sure, right? No. Anyway, I put it on. My running didn't last long. It was a fad. I got excited about a week, 2 weeks, stopped, right? Anyway, I then get serious about running. I then go to Runner's Need, because at that point I had taken out a vitality policy, which looks after my well-being and all this kind of stuff. And with that, you get a 50% discount at Runner's Need. Just mind you, this is not sponsored by Vitality or Runner's Need or anything like that. I go there and I try on. I didn't do this gait analysis stuff, right? I just try on a shoe, ran in it, and the shoe that felt really, really good to me, and I still have it till this day, was Altra's Torin 4.5. That was my first ever actual running shoe, as in a shoe that went and came out of the factory specifically for running, right? Now, this thing felt amazing. I had never felt cushioning like that before, and I loved it. At this point, I don't understand what zero drop means. I don't know what stack height means. All I know is I put it on and it felt good. And that to me is a hallmark of a good shoe. Don't worry about double jacquard, stack height, EVA, TPU, nitrogen infused carbon. Nah, don't worry about all of that. All right. Don't get me wrong. At some point, that stuff starts to enhance your run. The main thing is which shoe feels good to you. After having experienced a few, you're going to find that. Okay. So this was that shoe. Anyway, you see, before you know it, these shoes start to change the mechanics of how you move. Now, this is a zero drop shoe. For those listening who don't know what that is, bang, bang. I might introduce like a sound effect for any new term I use that you might want translated into common English. Zero drop, meaning if you're holding a shoe and you're looking at the heel of the shoe and the forefoot, the front of the shoe, they are measured, okay? If you measure the back, it's going to give you a measurement. Measure the front, it's going to give you, and if you subtract those two numbers, is the drop. For example, if the front of the shoe is 20 millimeters and the back is 30 millimeters, that has a 10 millimeter drop. Altra's running shoes are zero drop, meaning the height at the back and the front are the same. And therefore, how you land and take off, the mechanics will have a different load or requirement on your lower leg because of how you're taking off. It's as simple as that. If you're not used to running in a zero drop shoe and you're running a stack height, or it's got a, say, 40 mil stack height and 10 millimeter drop, suddenly you go to zero, you're going to experience that. So it's important to stay kind of informed. I've gone way too far in this rabbit hole, but I said all of that to say this. When you're running and you're starting to run, I want to give you a mind map that's going to guide you as to which direction of shoes you need to be going. Okay? Now, I've got a 3-staged mind map, okay? The first one, are you gonna run on the road or the trail or somewhat in between? Those 3 options are gonna give you shoes that are very, very different, right? Are you going running on a trail or the road or a hybrid, okay? You need to understand that because those shoes are gonna be made differently. In other words, your trail shoe is going to have aggressive lugs that need to claw and grip to the ground because of the terrain you're going to be in. They're also going to have protection mechanisms in case you run into some roots, some stones, all this kind of stuff. They're also going to have probably a Gore-Tex, a more resilient upper to then make it waterproof because you're going to be going in all sorts of Indiana Jones locations, right? I'm exaggerating, I'm being flippant just to land the point. Whereas on the road, it's going to be a bit more minimalistic in terms of the outsole, but that still needs to have some resilience and grip. It's still going to be breathable, lightweight, because the type of running you do in road shoes. When you've got a hybrid of both, it acknowledges things like maybe running on an off-path that's slightly gravelly, or maybe you run on the pavement to get to your trails, and it's a mix of both. It needs to be adaptable to both of those, okay? That's the first thing. Second is how you land, okay? Now, I'm just going to simplify this. If you land, when your foot lands and your ankle turns in a little bit, you want a shoe that takes that into consideration and maybe tries to support that, okay? So to avoid you to overpronation, you want a shoe that's going to consider that. So each brand will have a specific type of shoe that is a neutral shoe. That means, I don't want to say normal as if the overpronation or the need for a support is abnormal, but the majority of runners will be neutral because some of us we do pronate, we do overpronate, but not too much, okay? We do pronate, but not overpronate. And therefore, we don't need support shoes. I want to land this with this example. Now, you know me, I review running shoes. I get excited when a new running shoe comes out. Asics put out the Gel Kayano 30s, right? All the influencers then go to launch this thing. I'm like, hey, let me get in on the action. I get myself a Gel Kayano 30 and I go running in it. All I'm telling you is I nearly had a divorce with my calves, with my shin splints and the lower legs. Because this shoe is not made for me, I've never experienced pain like I felt running in the Gel Kayano 30s. Since that day, I vowed I'm never gonna run in a support shoe unless it's got mild support. So shoes like Puma's Forever Run, even some of Ultra's support shoes, they're not too aggressively supportive. But if a shoe is not made for how you run, you're gonna have more problems than you will solutions. I promise you that now. Right? But my legs have forgiven me since, and we're all good. Taught me a lesson. Just because you review running shoes, you don't need to review all of them. Stay in your lane, Aubrey, and pipe down, right? So we've done the first mind map. What terrain are you running on? Trail, road, or hybrid? Or do you overpronate or a neutral one? So when you go to your shop, Runner's Need, Sports Direct, whatever shop you get your shoes from, you need to be fully aware. So some have got quite advanced technology in assessing how you run and therefore will advise you in that regard. Or some have you run on a treadmill that will film you and show your feet. That kind of thing. It's important, highly important that you know that bit, okay? The third level of my mind map. Now, please understand, I'm overly simplifying this because this is the start of a conversation. Once I bring in a specialist, we're going to get into the detail, right? Now, the third level of my mind map is this. At what pace are you running? Okay? Now, I'm going to show you, and again, extremes. If pace is not an issue, Burna Boy has just released a new album. I just want to listen to it while I go running. I don't care what pace. I'm going easy. I can talk. I can chat through my run. There is a shoe for that, where pace is not an issue. And therefore, that shoe will be for your easy running. And currently, we're in this max cushion era. Okay, so each brand will have a max cushion shoe. They're literally called that because, as genius as you think, the cushion is at a maximum, right? On the other end of the spectrum, you've done all your training. You are now about to go to a race, whether it's a 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon. Now, these distances are also another layer in this mind map. I'll touch on that in a little bit. But for speed, you then have your race day fast shoes, essentially lightweight, cushioned, but propelled shoes. The propelled bit is significantly contributed to by a stiffening element or a carbon plate or carbon rods or nylon infused plates. There will be a plate sandwiched in the midsole that is helping the propulsion of that. So you're not just putting on a shoe and running, but it's got a carbon plate that when you towing off, it will spring you forward. And that is what sort of coined the phrase super shoes, okay? So those are your two extremes. However, I might just want to do a steady run, not an easy one where I'm just chilling, having a nap over here, but this might be a steadier pace. Zone 3, early levels of a zone 4. That's another thing. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Don't worry about, actually, forget I said zone. Don't let that cloud your brain. But you're now starting to be a bit more efforted and intentional about your speed. These are commonly called tempo or threshold shoes, okay? Now, they might have one, not as much cushioning that it just zaps all the energy as if you're running on sand or a pillow or a mattress, but it's going to have a bit of a combination of both, that it will be cushioned, but not as much, and it will have some propulsion, okay? And then there is a combination of that, but with a stiffening element. Might be a carbon plate, might be a plastic plate, but that allows the propulsion without compromising on the cushion. And I want to say the first time I heard this term was from the Believe in a Run channel, where they call it a super trainer. Now let me explain. Your daily trainers are anything that's not your race day shoe. But you've got your Max Cushion daily trainers, you got your Tempo daily trainers, and now these super trainers, which are very close to race day. Now, the reason why I love the super trainer category, if you run like me and you're just getting into the running, you don't necessarily, and I'll emphatically say this, maybe to de-influence you, you don't always need a fast carbon-plated shoe for two reasons. One, some people won't utilize that speed because you're not quite there yet. Secondly, they are pricey. I've just received a shoe for review that's priced at £330. Some of you guys, you come home having spent £330, and some of you ladies, I'm telling you now, the spouse, the partner is going to have to speak to a lawyer or something. All right? Let's move on. That's honestly me scratching the surface. Now remember, I also said I'll touch on the last sub-level of this mind map, and that's pace, right? If you are the type of runner that runs 8-minute per K pace, okay, super slow, I'm one of them, okay? You don't need that carbon-plated super fast shoe, okay? If you are super fast though, running in a Max Cushion shoe on race day, so like your Gel Nimbus, let me not go into terms, but the super Max Cushion shoes, and you're running in that on race day when you're a fast runner, you're sort of robbing yourself a little bit. You're at a disadvantage because you're running on a mattress as opposed to a surface that's going to propel you forward. So I would definitely highly encourage, whether you're new or not, absolutely explore and experiment on these type of running shoes, because for me, it's just adding flavor to this running journey. You know, there's a saying, all the gear, but no idea. I tell you what, there's a funny video I watched. Middle-aged Running Man is the name of the YouTube channel. I love this guy. Anyway, he goes to a park run just for fun. He did a video to go, I'm going to go dressed as an elite runner or an influencer. And he was there with the hat turned backwards, with some sunglasses on an overcast day. He has on a singlet. I'm sure he had a heart rate monitor on, some half tights, all this kind of stuff, right? He was just missing a hydration vest, the Coros heart rate monitor on the arm, calf sleeves, arm sleeves. Oh yeah, it's definitely missing the arm sleeves. There's so many things in the running world in terms of accessories. Honestly, it just blows my mind. I love it, but it blows my mind. Like, for example, I run with arm sleeves for races, not just normal everyday running in my neighborhood, but if I'm traveling somewhere to go, I'm for sure putting on some arm sleeves. If you ask me what the arm sleeves are for, functionally, I don't know. I'm not gonna make, compression, nah. I do it purely for aesthetic purposes. It is purely for swag and me looking cool. That's it, okay? And if that's you, hey, do your thing. Don't let anyone, if you're spending your own money buying accessories because it make you feel good, you do you, all right? You do you. Don't let any trolls, don't let any running specialists tell you, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. Listen, if you want a hydration vest on while you're running your 3K in your neighborhood because it's got a pocket for your phone, maybe keys, hey, do your thing. If you're gonna need water, do your thing. As long as you feel good, hey, do that thing. Hey, so I was talking to my friend Greg about people that wear hydration vests, even for short distances, right? So we go, yeah, man, you don't need a hydration vest for 5K. And Greg made a point to say, actually, hold on, bro. Your 5K might be 25 minutes. You definitely don't need hydration for that. But what about the person that runs 5K and it takes them 50? It takes them an hour. I then go, From that point, I realized I was trolling. I was. Hey, look, man, if you want to wear a hydration vest for a jog around the block, do your thing. Do you, okay? Do what you want. You want to wear calf sleeves, arm sleeves, Gouda or Sun God or Oakley sunglasses, do your thing. Wear the hat backwards, put your foot pod on, sweatband, I don't care, bro. Sis, do your thing. As long as it makes you feel good, do it. Simple as that. Now, there's also another side of the coin that says some of these accessories have got very practical uses for them, okay? So it's important you understand. So I'll give you an example. I wear a foot pod made by a company called Stride. It's a little black device that you pin onto the laces of your shoes, and that takes stats, distance, pace, much more accurately than anything wrist-based, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, the wrist-based stuff is also doing a good job, but that's more accurate. When you look at it, I want to say it's about 200 pounds. Out of disclosures, Stride kindly sent that to me, and so I use it from that regard. The question you have to ask yourself, do you want to spend 200 pounds for that? Or just go with your wrist-based stats? For me, I see a benefit in doing that, so I support it. Okay, but it's going to be a cost-benefit analysis you need to do within your head to go, actually, I know I can get much more accurate heart rate reading with a chest strap heart rate monitor or the Coros one that you wear on your arm. But am I okay with just a wrist-based one? Because Garmin still do very good heart rate reading. Apple Watches, Coros, Suunto, Polar, they all do very good readings, but it's much more reliable with a heart. You know, the other thing I noticed when I started running, anything that was running specific was more expensive. Like you could go to TK Maxx and get a t-shirt, okay, on sale, Primark, you know, your discounted shops, Walmart, whatever you want to call it, and get a t-shirt for £3, £4, $5, whatever your currency is, right? As soon as it's a running t-shirt, suddenly it's £10, it's $50. I'm like, what? Just because it's a running one, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, some people just take advantage of it. But there are some specific things about that t-shirt that a normal t-shirt won't have. A cotton t-shirt won't breathe. A cotton t-shirt will rub you wrongly when it gets sweaty. And this is where you then go in the shower, have a shower, and discover you've chafed in places you've never chafed before, okay? Simply because it's not a technically engineered material you're putting against your skin, it's gonna get sweaty, it's not gonna breathe or let heat or moisture out. It's things like that, okay? It's the same with half tights. You can get half tights very easy from Under Armour, from, I don't know, Lonsdale, all right? But as soon as they're running ones, they then have pockets for your gels. They then have all sorts of considerations that a normal one just simply doesn't have. I will get in touch with so many brands and have them speak to you directly to kind of educate you into why certain materials over others, why are certain accessories crucial, why some are just nice to haves. I don't know. We'll touch on all of that, okay? Let's talk about nutrition. You get into running and you see people talking about energy gels. I won't lie to you, it took me a long time to buy into this until you invest in time to understand the science of what the heck is happening. Why do I need to be squeezing these gels as I'm running? Okay, I'm going to start and talk to you about 3 points, actually 4. The 4 points of nutrition for every runner. Okay, again, I say all of this just simply because of what I do, not because I have qualifications and things like that. And as I promised, I will get people that are more qualified than me to speak on these things. Okay, so the first point of nutrition is days out from your running event. Okay. If you are doing a race, 5K, 10K, half marathon, whatever distance, there is fueling to be done for that distance. Now, if you're a sprinter, maybe not so much, but 5K, from what I know, absolutely I do. Absolutely I do. 10K more so. Half marathon, it's a requirement. I think about my fueling. For a marathon, don't be stupid and not think of your nutrition days before. When I say nutrition, I'm talking both food as well as water and hydration. Water and electrolytes to put in those minerals back in your body, because when you sweat, you're not just losing water, you're losing all sorts of minerals, salts and stuff like that, hence the electrolytes, okay? These are days before. So you're trying to fill up on all of, if you imagine, now I know this is not very scientific, but if you imagine your body having little tanks for reserves for fuel, okay? You want, leading up to your race event, to fill up all those reserves to have energy, okay? And that's what people refer to as carb loading, okay? Pasta, pizza, whatever it is, okay? Leading up to your race day. You want to fill up all those reserves that when you get to the start line, you're ready to go. So days before is the first point. The second one is the morning of. Now that is key. Actually, do you know what? Let me add on. I feel like there's a whole episode required here. Let me add on nutrition, meaning putting food in as well as getting some out, if you get what I'm saying, right? The morning of your race, you're going to want to talk about maybe your porridge, toast, whatever it is that you fuel with. Now, I want to emphasize here, don't deviate from what you normally do. Whatever it is that you normally do, stick to that. I promise you, stick to that for the race day morning. Okay? Whether it's your porridge or whatever it is. And then you want to do two things. And I say two intentionally. You want to do two. And number two, you want to do it twice. Me, I make sure I do it. If I'm staying in a hotel, if I'm staying at the house, have a number two before you leave your house. When you get to the race event, find some portaloos, toilets. You go again. That way, you know for sure you've got one less problem to worry about. Now, before I really got into this running stuff, I discovered this in a very horrible way. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know what it is about runners. We overshare on these toilet things. But I'll tell you, right? I remember Oxford Half Marathon 2 years back, around the 8 mile mark, I had to stop. Went into the toilet and I was there for quite a while, and then went my way. Back at the 12 mile mark, my stomach then starts going again. It's simply because I hadn't learned and mastered how to do this bit right. My second experience was for a long run. Now, I haven't told this story quite openly to a lot of people, so I might miss out some details, change some names of some people to protect the characters. Right? I'm training for a marathon, and I leave my house way early to go meet up with some guys, okay? I feel like I've given this story away, but I haven't even told the guys this. Anyway, just as I'm about to go meet them, something's just not feeling right. Now, fortunately, right, it's winter. It was -2, and I'm going to meet this guy. So I had several layers. I didn't have any, what should we say, accessories, right? So I found myself a little exit along the road, sorted out. Long story short, I met the guys with one layer less than I had when I left home. You want to avoid things like that, okay? Anyway, the third point of nutrition is during the run. This is what I'm talking about, energy gels. Now remember, you filled up all your energy reserves before you set off. You then have it all going, boom, 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 but you're using up this energy. Now you're running out. You then need to fill. Now I had a chat, and I might get this lady on here. Her name is Megan. Featherston Nutrition is what she's known by. She does a podcast with the other Megan. It's called Fuel for the Soul on the Believe in the Run channel, right? She gave me one of the biggest tips I've ever had in my life. You fuel for how you're going to feel half an hour in. I was like, what? Right? So you're going to have an energy gel at the start line because you're going to fuel for how you're going to feel in about 5K or half an hour's time. So when you take the next gel, you're fueling for half an hour after that. And you keep going. Now, I say half an hour as a benchmark. It doesn't mean that's for you. This is why we do long runs and practice your running as you go, right? I'm like, this is a game changer, because before I would wait until I feel like I need to fuel, right? And then before I know it, I'm dead. Okay? So it's important. It's important that you understand the science. Anyway, the fourth point of nutrition is after your run. Now remember, you've beaten up your muscles, you've beaten up your organs, and these things need that nutrition to kind of get back to functioning as a normal human being, right? So there is that recovery. the main thing I would focus on, don't get me wrong, carbs are still important, but your protein. The protein is going to be excellent for recovery. As I say, I'm not an expert. I do understand a fair bit, so I will try and get someone who knows what the heck they're talking about to kind of detail these things out a bit more. Okay, apps. Now, you get into running, and if you're anything like me, you just go, I just put my running shoes on and I go. I don't know what distance, I'll just try and go longer than last week. I don't know what pace, as long as I go faster than last week. I don't know, so there's no structure. I then found this app called the Nike Run Club, NRC. And this thing is amazing, right? There's a guy on there, his name is Coach Bennett, right? Coach Bennett basically gets in this app, and if you put headphones in, he talks you through what you need to do while you're running. I'm telling you now, this thing is underrated. The Nike, now you tell it what you're doing. What program do you want? Oh, I just want to learn how to run. Oh, I'm training for a 5K time. Oh, so it kind of then coaches you through. What I like about it that's different to all the apps is you've got a voice. It's pre-recorded, don't get me wrong, but you have a voice speaking to you, telling you what you're going to do. Oh, we're about to go again on this interval in 5, 4, 3, go. And I think, to me, that's extremely underrated. Extremely. So the apps like that to get you going. More recently, they're now more algorithm-based running coaching apps, like Runner, like Cooper, the Garmin app. There's so many of these apps that are now able to just say, okay, well, what do you want to do? I want to train for my first marathon. I want to train for this distance. I want to achieve this time goal and all this kind of stuff. They will create a plan for you, and you simply have to follow it along with a schedule. It's important that you get to understand these things as a new runner, as someone trying to reconnect. I want to stress as well, even for seasoned runners that have been doing this a long time, I want to challenge you to actually just explore some of these apps and see how much joy they bring into your running by removing a lot of the thinking. Okay? Lastly, races. Now you're doing all these runs. Now for me, I'm a big advocate for just running because you want to. I feel like if I ever made running a serious thing to the point where all I'm living and breathing is this running thing, and I feel like it would suck all the joy out of it. I actually listened to a guy who said, you know what, one of the things I regret as a runner is just not enjoying it. This guy was reflecting on his running journey, and he regretted just not taking time to enjoy it. Because I feel like once you get elite and super serious, it then becomes about time goals, PBs, and all this kind of stuff, and you just don't enjoy it. And that is why I want to get into this section of races. As you're training, it's good to test yourself and go, actually, I'm going to go all out at this 5K distance, at this 10K, half marathon, whatever it is, and see where I stand. Okay? Or you can see races the way I see them. I'm not saying you have to, because this is my podcast. You might feel this is the right way. No, I'm simply saying I go to races to be with other people. Honestly, it is one of the most fun things, especially, now please don't take this as me being arrogant, especially if you're known, okay? It is so good just being with people and them saying, Aubrey, how's it going, man? How was this? Oh, we enjoyed watching this. That interaction, I live for it to a point where I actually forget sometimes I'm here doing a race and I'm after a specific time. I start dancing with the bands that are performing on the side of the street. I start talking. I stop, literally. I'm running, right? And someone goes, hey, Aubrey. I'm like, what? I turn back because they've acknowledged me. They want to say hi. I'm going to say hi to you. Okay? There are times, though, don't get me wrong, I throw down, bro. Put my Eliud Kipchoge on, get out of my way. Man's about to get a PB. Move out the way. All right? There are times I give you guys the most glorious, slowest marathons you've ever seen. But I have to say, even my fastest marathon, me and Thomas were busy clowning with the crowds because that's how I enjoy to run. I say all of that to say not all race events need to be hardcore, super serious, near heart attack pace. Okay? Not at all. But these are important. So what I would like to advise you is look around and see the people that organize running events. We've got a company here in the UK called Run Through, and they put on all sorts of running events, and I love what they do. They're simply great at what they do. And it's so good to support people like that, okay? Those are the key things I want to touch on. And my future guests that I'm going to have will talk about these particular things, but more in depth from an expert opinion of view, not just a guy with a podcast yapping to you guys. All right, so let's move on to the next section, and this is my YouTube section. Now, I watched 3 videos this week that I really, really like. Not only from watching them, but they will have a story behind them as to why I'm recommending these 3 out of the ones that I've watched, okay? So let's start with Film My Run. This is an interesting topic. Now, this guy's channel is, I might describe it wrongly, please forgive me, sir, but he takes a very journalistic view to running when he reports certain things, and I use the word report intentionally. He did a video on Russ Cook. Now, Russ Cook is the hardest geezer, right? He ran the length of Africa and now doing New Zealand, and there were some questions raised about the validity of those runs. I'm not going to give an opinion. I just want you to check out this video for 2 reasons. One, the content itself, absolutely. But this Film My Run guy, I'm telling you now, underrated. Now, don't get me wrong, he's got a healthy number of subscribers. People acknowledge what he does. But for what he does, I wish he had more people watching him. I wish there was more people getting value from what he does. And it would make his work, the toil, the effort he puts into his videos more rewarded. I genuinely think this guy is a gem in the community with what he does and his videos. I haven't seen a bad video from this guy yet. Film My Run, the last 2-3 videos, you're not going to be disappointed. All right. The next one is The Welsh Runner. The Welsh Runner. Okay. Matt is his name. He's a family man, and I love the guy. I've done a video on him before, actually, where I just yapped to the camera, appreciating him supporting what I do. Anyway, they did this video about a local race. It's a relay. It's him, his missus, and I think a guy from the run club, right? It's one of the funniest videos. Not comedy as such, but just people having a good time. Even from the thumbnail of the video to how he intros the video, I had a good time watching it. Now, for me, I don't take running too seriously. I'm not out here trying to beat times and all this kind of stuff. I appreciate when people show a lighthearted side of themselves as well as running. And this video is a perfect example of that. Okay, so all these videos I will link in the description if I remember to. I always say I'll link stuff, I'll edit, and then I forget, but hopefully I'll get it done. The last video, this one is special. From a sentimental perspective. There is a lady, her name is Nicole. Now, Nicole is a black lady. That alone, I'm telling you now. So I don't shy away from talking about these things, whether it's things to do with gender, things to do with race, because if you ignore talking about that, honestly, you're going to have a hard time watching my channel because I'm a black guy. So we're going to have to get over that quick, all right? Having a woman in an underrepresented space, to me, seeing people like Run Like Hella, Philly Bowden, Sarah from the Running Channel, Anna from there, it's just mind-blowing to actually think really hard. Can you name me 10 YouTube channels by women? You have to think hard, and I don't have enough brain cells to think that hard, right? And then I go, actually, it's the same for black people. Right. Now, my last video before this was talking to you about 5 YouTube shoe reviewers that I watch. Okay? Now, these 5, There's somebody who commented to say, I love all these channels, but have you noticed, Aubrey, they're all in the West, like Western influence, Western-based YouTube channels. I wish we had more on the East. I wish we had more African. And I was like, oh, snap, you're right. I hope you're starting to see. Anyway, Nicole is a black lady. I think she is originally Jamaican, based in the US. And she produced a race vlog. Now, her YouTube channel is a travel vlog, but she's a runner. And she is getting more and more into this running space. And I'm in constant communication with this lady. She then says, actually, I've done a race vlog. It's going to go up on Sunday. I'll shoot you a link. I'm like, yeah, do your thing, do your thing. There I am trying to be all supportive. Yeah, do your thing. I'll check it out. And then I checked it out. Now, you know one of them ones where your daughter or your son draws a picture and say, oh, look, daddy, here. And you're just trying to be a supportive dad, right? You're like, yeah, oh, well done. Fully knowing it's not up to par. You know, it's not up to par. It's just your child. And you want to be an encouraging parent. So you go, hey, yeah, it's going all right. Yo, you're doing a good job. Oh, yeah, I like it. And you put it on the fridge, right? That's the angle I was coming out with to go, I don't know what she's done, but you know what? I got this lady's back, all right? I want to encourage, I want to support. And then I checked out the vlog. My days, this lady's vlog is much better than people that do race vlogs full time. I'm telling you this now. It's as simple as that. I want you to check out her name, boom, Nicole's travel vlog, and it's a Lululemon 10K event that she does. I'm going to put it out here, simple as this. It's one of the better race vlogs out there, even in comparison to people that do race vlogs. Nicole, well done, right? Those are the three that I had. Okay, I'm running out of time, but before I do, the products corner. I was just chilling the other day and I was out with my daughter. I get a notification on the Ring doorbell, boom, boom. It's a big box. What's this? I get home, picked it up from the neighbor, and it was the Ghost 17 from Brooks. I wasn't expecting it. They hadn't been in touch, but they send me out stuff once in a while, right? And the Ghost 17 arrived. Boom. I was excited. Simply because of all the things that I said about the Ghost 16. Now, you people think just because shoes are sent to me, I say nice things. No, the Ghost 16, I simply said, this is not a shoe for me. It doesn't work for me at all. It's got like the most minimal midsole in terms of the forefoot, in terms of measurement, the 16. It just didn't work for me. I'm thinking, wait, running is already hard. Why are you trying to make it harder by sort of rationing on the midsole and the forefoot, Brooks? Come on, bro. Let's have a chat. I feel like they've listened to me. So when the Ghost 17 arrived, and I look at it, and then I go over to Believe in the Run channel. They've just reviewed it. I haven't watched the review yet. I want to check it out. But from what I see, they've added to the midsole. Done. That's all I wanted. That is all I wanted. I haven't looked at this thing in detail. But one thing I want to touch on in terms of the Ghost 17. In every sport, in every discipline, every hobby, you're going to find the thing. Do you know what? I feel like the Brooks series is like a requirement for running. It's like the entry, you know? And the reason why I like that is it makes for a very good recommendation where a running shoe reviewer, somebody going, mate, what shoe should I get? Okay? Other brands have caught up. But if you go to a park run, I'm telling you now, there will be a Brooks shoe at a park run. And most likely it'll be a Ghost shoe. I feel like it's almost a requirement that if you want to run park run on the form to register, you must declare at some point you will run in a Ghost shoe by Brooks. This shoe is just reliable. It is that shoe that just does it. It's like an iPhone. It just does it, right? From the upper, it just works. The midsole just works. There are refinements. And the thing is that other running shoe companies have caught up. And in some cases, for some lines, have exceeded Brooks. But Brooks remains that. One thing that I'm yet to see still is anybody beat this outsole in a daily trainer just like that, right? I promise you, in like World War II or something like that. You know when England was building those bunkers so people could hide underground? I'm telling you now, if they just made those out of Brooks outsoles, if they just made these out, I'm telling you now, it just works. It just works. And Adidas, so I'll give you Adidas put Continental rubber, right? So Adidas, a running shoe, puts Continental, make car tires on the shoes as outsoles. I reckon Brooks can put Brooks outsoles on car tires. Oh man, I'm enjoying myself too much in these podcasts, right? But that's the one thing I want to say. And for me, it's going to make an easier job of reviewing this shoe now that they've added to this midsole. The 16 just was not for me. The DNA tuned that they've added in the Glycerin series, I love that. But this is still DNA Loft, nitrogen injected foam. It's gonna be a fun shoe, but I haven't ran in it yet. I'm not giving you an opinion just yet. I just wanted to highlight it from that perspective. Okay, so I promise you, we're gonna get into a bit more details with people that know what they're talking about. I'm gonna highlight some more products and give you more recommendations for this YouTube thing. That's been another episode. That was funny. Episode 5. Anyway, I'll see you in a bit.